Buying a car in Carvana was so easy. I was able to finance it through them.
Whoa, wait, you mean finance?
Yeah, finance. Got pre-qualified for a Carvana auto loan, entered my terms, and shot from thousands of great car options all within my budget.
That's cool that financing through Carvana was so easy.
Financed. Done. And I get to pick up my car from their Carvana vending machine tomorrow.
Financed.
Right, that's what I said.
You can spend time trying to pronounce financing, or you can actually finance and buy your car today on
Carvana.
Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
Well, the situation in the Middle East will no doubt be high on the agenda for the US Vice President J.D. Vance. He is in the UK at the moment, visiting the Foreign Secretary David Lammy. In fact, David Lammy is hosting J.D. Vance at his country residence in Kent today. We can speak now live to our LBC News Washington correspondent, Simon Marks. Simon, this is a holiday for J.D. Vance, but a sort of working holiday, is that right?
Yeah, busman's holiday, I think. I remember, James, that J.D. Vance and David Lammy are friends, a relationship that was forged at the Munich Security Conference a few years ago when neither of them was serving in government. J.D. Vance at the time was a senator, of course, and David Lammy was Labour's shadow foreign secretary. But he was very keen, David Lammy, to reach out and make contact with figures that he thought might prove useful in Trump world, and he found a key figure in J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference, and they built a friendship that has outlasted both of their respective transitions into government, and now, of course, is having to endure what will undoubtedly be tensions over the situation in Gaza and that plan announced by Benjamin Netanyahu just hours ago for Israel to try and seek control over the whole of the territory. There's been a massive distinction between the US government's response to that and the response of the United Nations, which has called it catastrophic, our own Prime Minister, who says it can only mean more bloodshed in Gaza. The American administration, by contrast, is saying, well, they're pretty indifferent to all of this. This is Israel's decision and Israel's decision alone, according to the US ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, very close to President Trump. And President Trump earlier in the week said that it was basically up to Benjamin Netanyahu to decide what he wanted to do with Gaza. Absolutely no indication of pushback in that regard coming from the president, and presumably not from J.D. Vance. We know that J.D. Vance has said that there will be absolutely no recognition of Palestinian statehood by the US government. No suggestion that Donald Trump is going to follow in the footsteps of Emmanuel Macron of France and our own Prime Minister, among others, who say with varying degrees of conditionality that they are close officially to recognising Palestinian statehood. That is completely off the agenda here in the United States. So I think those talks with David Lammy are going to be tense when it comes to the issue of Gaza and other flashpoints around the world, including, of course, the possible summit that may or may not take place in a few days' time between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, after the Prime Minister and other European leaders were told by President Trump that they certainly wouldn't be welcome to attend those conversations and won't be given a seat around the table either if there is a three-way conversation that eventually includes Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. We have learnt today, though, from NBC News of the extent of the frustration that exists in the relationship between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. Remember a week ago when Donald Trump was sitting alongside the Prime Minister at his golf resort in Ayrshire, and it was then that the American president for the first time conceded that real starvation is taking place in Gaza and said that the television images that he had seen could not be faked. Well, according to NBC News, that led to fury on the part of the Israeli leader, who demanded a phone call with President Trump. And the phone call, according to this report, was very fiery. The two men angrily shouting at one another over Prime Minister Netanyahu's insistence that reports of starvation starvation in Gaza were fabricated by Hamas and that famine was not widespread in the territory. According to NBC, Trump interrupted Netanyahu, began yelling and saying that the president's aides had shown him proof that children in Gaza were starving and he didn't want to hear it dismissed as fake. So there are limits to just how far down Benjamin Netanyahu's road President Trump is prepared to trot, but there is no indication that he's got any concerns at the moment, at least not publicly expressed, about Israel's plan potentially to swell another, tens of thousands of additional troops into Gaza if Benjamin Netanyahu is serious about trying to take control of the whole territory.
Simon, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much. LBC News Washington correspondent Simon Marks there.
LBC News.
Buying a car in Carvana was so easy. I was able to finance it through them.
Whoa, wait, you mean finance?
Yeah, finance. Got pre-qualified for a Carvana auto loan, entered my terms, and shot from thousands of great car options all within my budget.
That's cool, but financing through Carvana was so easy.
Financed. Done. And I get to pick up my car from their Carvana vending machine tomorrow.
Financed.
Right, that's what I said.
You can spend time trying to pronounce financing, or you can actually finance and buy your car today on
Carvana.
Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
Hi, I'm Kristen Bell, and if you know my husband Dax, then you also know he loves shopping for a car. Selling a car? Not so much.
We're really doing this, huh?
Thankfully, Carvana makes it easy. Answer a few questions, put in your VIN or license, and done. We sold ours in minutes this morning, and they'll come pick it up and pay us this afternoon.
Bye-bye, truckie.
Of course, we kept the favorite.
Hello, other truckie.
Sell your car with Carvana today. Terms and conditions apply.